yeah, what are some wins? What are
Uh,
some good things
so
happening?
well, nothing really. I haven't been booking a lot of I have been booking a lot of calls. But since it's the holidays, it's kind of like on and off. So I'm looking to get back into it. Every day I've been learning like 1 to 2 hours of sales. So I'm in like a bunch of sales communities, just like consuming courses. I
Nice,
have
bro.
like this AI chatbot that I talk to. It like corrects my sales, like my talking. So like, hey, hey, welcome to the call. I'm glad to have you here. And like it answers like, so what is your goal for this like and like so I've been working on that. I've been working on building rapport, connection, all that kind of stuff in the beginning, setting the intention for the calls. So I've been working on all of that. So far
Amazing.
it's been, hey Lucy, so far it's been all great. I have like tomorrow I have 3 calls booked. Um so that's going to be very interesting, and I'm ready for that as usual. I have constantly some type of cool calls booked with some cool
Okay.
people. So yeah, always always ready, always practicing, always learning new things. I've been consuming so much, like every day I just spend an hour
Nice, man.
writing everything in different notebooks and stuff, and just like reviewing it, like what objections
Yeah,
to use. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. And
gotcha.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Just
I
consuming,
love it, man.
learning, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm consuming a high ticket free course, like high ticket sales free course.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like 8 modules. So like each like one module is like building connection and rapport. One module
Mm,
um like I don't know. I'm gonna check it out now, but it's a pretty cool course right now, and 7 steps. So uh
gotcha, gotcha.
report and connection, using internal and external urgency, goals and discovery, pitch and alignment, mastering and close,
Yeah, yeah.
and overcoming objections. So I've
That's
been doing all
fine.
that. I think the only thing that I have problems with is probably the transitions. So like I know how to call, I know when I'm calling. So if I'm talking with somebody, I know exactly how to pitch my product. I know exactly how it works. I know exactly how to show them. I know exactly how to ask questions. But like the transitions from like in a call, from like to asking them different stuff. One
Mm-hmm.
one that I've been using is like, okay, now are you ready to move forward? Is one that I've been using. But there are lots of other kind of like transitions that I feel like I should use. And I'll be very glad if you could give me like 5 transitions right now, from like going from just rapport to like, are we ready to move forward? That's one that I've been using. Are you ready to move forward? That's one of them. Beautiful.
Mm,
Are you ready to move forward? So I've been saying that. But I feel like I need something else. Like, for example, when I'm going from them talking about their life story to something else, I can't always use are ready to move forward. And there's been different kind of different situations where I can't say, are you ready to move forward?
yeah.
You say like, and I just don't really know what to say. I probably, one thing that I should do is review all my sales calls, which I've been trying to do as much as possible, because that's like the best way to reflect on myself. So that's one thing that I've been like, a side note for myself is review sales calls.
I
And
gotcha, man.
I think that's pretty much it. Just like the transitions, I have my like ideal like funnel and everything. So my DM, my school,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
everything ready. So like I've my funnel. I know exactly when to pitch them, how to pitch them. I have like my whole script ready. So my script
Okay.
is just like the kind of like the transitions, I guess.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Then
Yeah,
overcome.
yeah, yeah.
But so far, I've had no
Yeah, we'll
objection.
get into that.
Yeah, but that's
And
pretty much.
by the way, you want objections because that's another thing too that I run into. And I think we brought this up a while back with Lucy or something like that. But the key is you want to even force an objection sometimes and do what's called a hypothesis-based question.
Ja już jeszcze 5 sekund.
Just to make sure like there's no uncertainty. But anyways, we'll get into that. So
Yes. I watched a video today, very powerful, on high ticket sales,
yeah.
and it says you want to like get all their questions out, like ask, make them tell
Yeah.
you, do you have any more questions, and then like just tire out all their questions until they have no other questions, and then or already make the pitch. So like it's like they say kill the zombies. So like one zombie is like no time. So I asked them, hey, and
Exactly.
what about
I
time?
got you.
Do you have like 20 to 30 minutes a day for language learning? Yeah, of course.
I
Or
got
I
you.
asked them, hey, how much time do you have for language learning? So like that kind of stuff. So I kill all the
For
zombies and
sure, for sure.
ask all the questions possible. And with that,
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, no, for sure. So okay. So in terms of transitions, by the way, with my style. because it's more conversational, I would even suggest you don't need transitions. You just get into the next step. And sometimes the way that happens is that it's through using what are, commonly used as like filler words, or in like professional public speaking, you would want to remove these things like, oh, or huh, or some of these things. But in conversation, it's normal, right? It's normal. So the way you want to use that in a transition is let's say they're talking about their life story. But now you want to, so let me ask you, what do you want to get into next? So they're talking about, they're rambling on, like what do you want to talk about next?
Me? I mean, I feel like so one thing that I've done today is I was on a call with a person. It's like the discovery. So I have discovery and then I have the sales, right? So like
Yeah,
and then I like in the discovery I say, hey, if you want to work together, we can kind of this other call where it's like already. So in the first call, I kind of qualify them, all this kind of stuff, like
I gotcha.
handle all their objections, and then the second call, I just close them, give them the offer, ask
Yeah,
any questions, and then so I had this first call, right? And
right.
today, like the person was telling me about their life story, like they were just talking a lot. And I'm like, okay, and with Spanish, how do you think it will also like what other spheres of your life will it help? Maybe your business, maybe your personal life, maybe your travels. And she's like,
Mhm.
oh, all of the above. And I'm like, oh, can you tell me more about that? And then she started talking about that. And then she was like,
Got you, got
and
you.
then I'm like, oh wow. And then she does this thing where like she pretty much helps people go to sleep with like lullabies in English. I'm like, oh, so maybe you can sing that in Spanish. I was like, oh my God, that's such a great idea. And then
Okay.
and then on the sales call already, I'm gonna be like, and then I wrote down notes. Like I'm really
Gotcha, gotcha.
so I
But
wrote
when you
down
say transition, like what, like, so for me, a transition could be, for example, it's like they're talking about their life story, but then I want to learn about not what they've done, but where they want to get to. So I want to get into their vision. So in that situation, I would use a filler like, oh, okay, gotcha. And then I'll go into their vision. Oh, I see. And so then, I guess when you think ahead in the next like 6 to 12 months, Jenny, um, ultimately, I mean, thank you for all the context of the past, but where do you want to get to, like, in 2026? That's a transition
that.
into
That's what I
their
did.
vision.
Thanks. Perfecto. Yeah. There were
Okay,
those
gotcha.
moments, but I feel like if I would have just had something in my head, like one of these, so oh, and where, like just kind of
Exactly, yeah.
have it relate to what they're talking about, but also just move forward. So yeah,
Exactly,
that was
yeah.
very fun.
And by the way, when you do ask a question like that of like, are you ready to move forward? It could come off as like you kind of tired of hearing them out, or like you're kind of like, okay, let's go to the next thing. So it's better to just be like, oh, or huh, that's interesting. And so then I guess, so let's say they're talking about their life story, but you want to clarify their challenges, right? So usually it's challenges first, then vision. But you could say, okay, gotcha, Jenny. So I understand that. I'm curious, so I guess, like, what's been the most difficult part about learning Spanish, given everything you've just stated, though? Like, I guess, like, what's been the biggest challenge? So now
Yeah.
we've pivoted into challenges by using like, oh, I see, or huh, that's interesting because now I'm curious, and then we're getting into whatever that other thing is. So like when you're in conversation, like it's very referred for you to ask your sister, like, oh, are you done with that? Or like, are you ready to move forward? Or like, hey, can we get into this other thing? It's usually like, oh, cool. But then boom, you pivot by having a phrase like, huh, interesting. Okay, cool. Gotcha. I get it. I understand. And then you pivot.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
There you go. Like, yeah, gotcha. Okay, I understand. I hear ya. So you want me to list five? Gotcha. Gotcha. I hear ya. Gotcha. I hear you. Ah, you literally just A.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Right. Gotcha. I hear you. Ah, got it. Um,
Gotcha.
and like I understand. I understand.
And I have one more that I use. I don't know if it's the right thing or not, but I sometimes when I have a chatty person, I want to like affirm that what they're giving me is valuable, and I don't want them to feel like self-conscious for
Yeah.
chatting so much and now me like needing to like move on. So I'll just say, that was really helpful for me to understand where you're coming from. And it's really interesting. And now I'm curious, how
Mm.
that would look, and then like get into a vision question or something. So like I kind
Yeah.
of like tell them I appreciate what they told me and then I move on.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
So
helpful.
there's two things there. I love the word, the usage of now. This Kai, so she used, oh, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Now, now I'm curious. So that's another one you might want to add.
Hmm.
Here's the thing though, to be just transparent. You gotta be careful in terms of what you're reinforcing.
Mm.
In other words, like if you're like, oh, I appreciate that. It could be for some people that are like, oh, let me talk more because she appreciates that. But if we're
Usually
like,
though, in my case, it is helpful.
oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And so just, in general for maybe like Kai or whoever, it's also just getting into the next thing without needing to feel like you have to like make them feel some type of way. Because just by the mere fact of the next question, if it is associated, which Kai, that's very important, if it is associated to what they just stated, they're gonna feel heard and understood. So in that question, they'll be like, their whole life story is like, oh, okay, so because you're a mom now and your life has changed dramatically versus when you were a cheerleader, I guess what's the goal you want to hit in 2026? It's a vision question, but you tied into their, you know what I mean? So it's also how do we frame the question to let them know I'm hearing you and pivoting into where like the next part of the conversation goes. But that's a really good one. In general, it's really, really good. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. No, for sure. And then you go, and now,
Cool. Great. So yeah, I might have to be heading off now because at 9:15 we turn off the Wi-Fi because it's like if we don't turn off the Wi-Fi then stuff goes crazy.
I guess
Um and we yeah, pretty much complicated. So yeah, pretty
I
much
got you.
I understood. So some basic transitions, fantastic.
Yes.
And I'm just gonna probably keep on looking at myself when I'm selling and reflect on myself, learn as much as possible, and I'm gonna try and get objections and just
Yeah,
like next call, so next Tuesday, just um pretty much handle like bring in some objections to handle. Yeah.
for sure, bro. So here's what I'll do. Let me ping you because in terms of like sales call reviews, that's something that we can talk about. Because there's a few frameworks I can share with you specifically. It just really depends. So let me ping you. You can get to it whenever later this week or whatever, and then we'll just go from there.
And also would be fantastic. Like just a question. It would be fantastic if we could like in the possible future move these calls for half an hour before. Like that'd be
I
like
know.
absolutely fantastic for me. I was just wondering what you guys thought.
I
Um,
know. Yeah, the thing about for my end is usually I have calls at 9:30 and then this is at 10 a.m. my time. So it's the one that works best. But I can re-ask if a Thursday time works a little bit better, maybe earlier. I didn't
yeah.
get much response, but that
Yeah.
could be something to look.
Thursday was like a great day. Thursday's great.
Perfect, brother. Awesome,
And
man. We'll
as
appreciate
your
you.
group, like I feel like your group is growing, but to make it grow even bigger, one thing that I would recommend is just going in other communities and just engaging
Mm.
there. And you're gonna
Yeah.
get so much people. Like I personally,
Yeah.
like in 1 month in December, I got 60 new members in my community just from engaging in other communities, just from like 20 to
Wow.
60 new
That's
members
nice.
in what, 23 days. And
Hmm.
with like 300 people viewed my about page and 60 people joined just from me like engaging, doing some posts in schoolers, doing like some just like some engaging. So one thing that I recommend if you do want to like get more community, it's of course not ideal for me and Lily because we're gonna have more competition in the calls. Oops.
I know, I
But
know.
but just saying that if you don't want to kind of grow your community, get more leads, get more people in
Yeah.
here, that's just a little recommendation that I would give you. Um,
I love that, bro. Yeah, and that's been the biggest challenge too, is just balancing some of these other projects with the posting and engaging, but it's the core of it. So because it is community based. So no, I appreciate the reminder, bro. That's huge. Appreciate it.
yeah. Cool. So yeah, then if you do get that Thursday sessions running, I'm gonna be very
Mhm.
grateful. If you don't, I'm still gonna try and make it, but I'm only gonna have 15 minutes.
I know, man. I
Yeah.
gotcha.
Cool. You all have a fabulous Christmas and New
Yeah,
Year's,
Merry Christmas.
Merry
and
Christmas, bro.
well, happy holidays. Bye bye.
Yeah.
All right, cheers, brother.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank
All right, awesome. So Lucy, how's it going for you? I know you had some wins and some momentum built, right?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. And I actually have one more sales call before January 1st, which
Nice.
um I don't know, like I can't gauge too well. She's not cold. I know that. She participated in my challenge that I just had at the beginning of December, the 12-day challenge, and so she booked from that. So, but I also haven't had a discovery call with her. So it's hard to say.
Mm. When is that
But
call?
um before the first, but after Christmas. Could be the
For the
29th, or 30th
29th.
maybe. Something like that.
Okay. Here's what I would recommend if you're open to it.
Yeah.
It's actually twofold. So, number one, because it is a busy time of the year, what I would highly recommend is give her a call that 26, which I believe is Friday,
Uh-huh.
or the 27th, which is a Saturday. Especially in the morning when usually if they're up at 9-ish, your time or whenever. Um, it's not intrusive. It's usually people are just hanging out on their phone scrolling or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So what do I mean by twofold? Twofold because when you do call them, it's gonna be, what's her name or whatever? Like
Andrea.
Andrea, hey Andrea, it's Lucy. How are you? And it's like Lucy is like, oh yeah, Lucy, Hutchins, we have a
Yeah.
call coming up on Monday. And they'd be like, oh yeah, yeah, how are you? Right. So one, you confirm the call
Yep.
because we're busy. This is a perfect time to use that a bit of as an excuse to do what's called a triage.
Yeah.
And
That's what I
so
usually call them.
yeah. So then what happens is you call them, hey, just wanted to check in. Do you have that on your calendar? Do you have it on your calendar? Because sometimes it gets lost in spam and junk.
Okay.
Okay. And then they should say yes. Obviously, if they say no, great, perfect.
Yeah.
That's even better. Okay. It's like, oh, actually, no, I don't see it. What time was that? Oh, yeah, thank you for calling me. Boom, let's get it sorted out. Boom. Now naturally the next step is usually gonna be like, all right, awesome. Well, we'll see you later. But you can use this as a chance to go right in. Talking about transitions, you
Yeah.
transition right into, so the way it would sound is like, let's say they go, yeah, no, I have it on there. Yeah, I'm excited to connect. Awesome. And then you go into, I'm curious. Okay, great. And by the way, I'm curious. Okay, awesome. Awesome. I'm looking forward to connect. And by the way, I'm curious. And by the way, I was wondering, right? And so the question for you becomes usually, how can you tell if a prospect is an ideal client profile at the highest levels? Like, what's the thing that they usually do? They have a gym membership, they've already tried something. Like, what's the thing that you're like, if I know this, I'll have a pretty solid idea if they're a pretty good fit. Like, what's the one thing or two things?
Guess I don't know if I've narrowed it down to the one or two things, but typically they're struggling with their weight and they're super frustrated. They've tried everything and they
Hmm.
haven't found anything that works. And typically, so it's not just
Okay,
weight. Like, so if
perfect.
somebody's looking to lose 10 or 15 pounds, it's really not enough. It's also combined with perimenopause
Yeah.
symptoms or blood sugar symptoms or like lab values that they don't like or fatigue
Mm,
or skin or like it's usually, or it's like 50 pounds that they need to lose and they've tried everything. And if they need to lose 50 pounds, then they probably have a
yeah.
bunch of other problems that they're trying to solve.
Here's what I would recommend because you didn't mention it, but underlying all of that, if they've been trying different things, there's a component of time.
Hmm. They're
So
busy,
then,
yeah.
you know what I mean? So then it's like, okay, hey, just wanted to confirm, like, do you have that on your calendar? Yes. Okay, great. And by the way, I'm curious, like, how long have you been on this wellness journey? How long? How long have you been? And then whatever your thing is. For me, it's okay, awesome, man. And I'm curious, how long have you been working on kind of getting better at sales? How long have you been trying to, close more deals? How long, right? Whatever it is. For you, it's how long have you been, what would you say it is?
Well, if I know that they're trying to lose weight, then it would be how long have you been trying to lose weight for? Most people say their whole lives or since childhood.
Hmm. Yeah. And that's perfect because now we get into, okay, God, like now we can really get into the even the kind of a little bit of the why now.
Hmm.
You know, it's like that's even better. The longer the better. Because then
Yes.
to you don't have to do it on the triage, but just for your own sake, you would have that knowledge. Okay, she told me she's been at this forever. So it naturally begs the question, well, okay, gotcha. Andrea or whoever, I guess can I ask you a personal question? Be like, yeah. So I mean, I see your journey. You've been trying all this stuff. You've been trying forever. But I guess did something happen recently? And that's when you get into the why now question. Did something happen recently that might have caused you to say, you know what, I think it's time. Like let's really do this time. Or Andrea, kind of like why now though? You know, even in the delivery of a question, it needs to be paced out
Yeah.
like that one, right? And usually it'll be towards the middle of your sales call or discovery call, whatever. Because if you do
Yeah.
it too early, they'll be like, it'll not land. It'll be like, well, I think it's time, or they'll give you like a fluff
Hmm.
answer.
Hmm.
But that's when you, as a leader, have to like sit back and be like, no, I get that, but I guess just to be devil's advocate, like, why not just kind of keep going the way you're going? I mean, you look good, right? You don't look bad, I guess, and so that's totally ha- contextual person to person. But now it's like leaning out. Like you don't have to do this, Andrea, or whoever. Um, but if you did, like why now? Okay. So let's take a step back because that was a lot, but it's gonna be very
Yeah.
important for you, especially with the holidays and like all this stuff.
Yes.
Okay. So what did you gather from that?
So I don't do this enough, for sure.
Mm,
So like that idea of like, because I think you might have mentioned it last time, or I recently heard it, that like playing devil's advocate and taking that step
yeah.
back of um, really getting them
That
to
was last
like,
time. Yeah.
yeah, to say like you don't, right, like you don't have to do this right now.
Mhm,
Why, why now? Yeah.
mhm.
So
So I saw the face there. What comes up for you internally? Like you feel that it's what? It's what?
um I probably have to practice just being okay with like pushing and digging.
There we go. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Yes. And when we view ourselves as a bridge to their transformation, it would actually be a disservice if we don't clarify,
Mhm.
right? Because if we're the bridge, like they're coming to us, they're busy, yet they made time on the calendar. And we can help them,
Yeah.
but if we don't clarify or understand, like truly, why do they want to do that? As a friend, like as an advisor, as a mentor, then what mostly happens is they just go back to what they're used to. So
Yeah.
why am I saying that? You can see it as pushing or whatever, but also what it really just is like holding the line and believing in their possible transformation, if and only if they themselves are fully clear on and really sold on their reasons why they want to do this now.
Hmm.
A lot of times they're not sold on that. A lot of times they don't
Hmm.
really know why. They might even tell you, well, I don't really know. I mean, sounds like a good idea, but now I'm starting to get doubts. Like, Lucy, do you think I shouldn't do this? Right? Okay, well, at that point you say, well, no, I think, by the way, you should absolutely do this, but what I want to know is if you did do this, what would it do for you ultimately? Like, why would you want to do this at this point? If at all. And always leaning out, if at all, right?
Hmm.
Why now? If Why now, if at all? Because that's really what you're doing. You're like playing this game of let me lean in to really clarify, but also let me lean out because I don't want to be pushy either,
Yeah,
you know?
I know. And I feel like I have a couple clients right now that I'm kind of like, if I had done this, I wonder if they would have joined. Um,
Oh.
they're just like, I'm having a hard time getting results for them because they don't feel as committed as I think they should be.
Mm-hmm.
And but I am grateful for their money.
I got you. I got you.
But they are not the best clients. So they
Mm,
kind of a little bit rip my hair out with them.
I
So,
got you.
or maybe they would have been maybe they would be more committed if,
That's where I was going. They might have a lot more clarity. And by the way, like you can always reset this, right? I've had clients
hmm
where they start strong, but then they fizzle out and say, "Hey man, can I just have like a honest conversation with you?" So yeah, it's like, okay, number one, like, are you okay with being held accountable? It's like, John, are you okay with just to be clear, man? I know we've been working for 3 months, but are you okay with being held accountable? And now he knows where we're going. Now he knows like I need to just really have an honest conversation with you right now. It's like, hey John, like just to be clear, man, and I think I know the answer, but I gotta ask, like, are you the type of guy that is okay with being held accountable? Are you the type of person that is okay with being held accountable? Well, of course, who isn't? Right now they're playing off of ego a little bit. Okay, it's fine.
yeah.
Right. And it's like, okay, yeah. And so listen, because I know you are, the next question becomes, remind me, like, why did you even start this weight loss journey, man? Like, 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 just take me back. What really drove you to say, you know what? I think I kind of want to do this. You were curious, or what happened? Now we restart. All it is influence.
hmm
Once they're a client, before they're a client, later on, like whatever. All we're doing is leading, influencing, providing space and clarity, but the big one is leadership, you know? Like calling them out a little bit in a way that is ultimately serving who, you or them, maybe even
Yeah.
both,
hmm
right?
Yeah.
Because it's serving them in the short term, but in the long term, once they get results, okay, now it's serving you because you can use that as a testimonial,
Awesome.
you know? So for you, what might keep you from asking these type of questions?
Oh, just being, just getting used to being a little bit uncomfortable as the leader on the call
Yes.
and, just continuing to practice though, I think is
Yes.
that's all that needs.
Okay.
Because, even what I do now is so different from what I did when I started. So I know
Mm,
that it's all possible to
yeah.
continue growing.
So here's the thing, like let me run it on you. Lucy, are you the type of person who's okay with being held accountable?
Yes.
Okay. So let me hold you accountable right now. Let's do a role play where I'm gonna be the client or the potential client, and then you're gonna try your best. There's no perfection. That's the whole point, right? Is let's practice.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's run it because that's what I would have loved to do with Kai, and with anybody. It's let's actually get into it so that you can experience what it feels like, and your heart may be, bumping, or you may be wondering like, what am I going to say? But that's perfect. Okay. So let's say that yeah, I'm on a weight loss journey and I scheduled a
Mhm.
call for whenever it was, like 26 or whatever. So it's a busy time of the year. I'm telling you that I wanna like lose, let's say, you know, 15 pounds. Because I'm almost at my like best fit weight or whatever. And I just haven't been consistent with macros or whatever, right?
Mhm.
So for you, the vision is help me understand like why now? That's all we're doing. So let's go ahead and run it. So just ask me a question and we'll role play it.
Okay. Um, so Are we like st all right. So is this like a triage call?
Yeah, or whatever. Like let's say it's a sales call or whatever works.
Okay. And I already know stuff about you.
Yeah, so we're already in conversation. So we're in the middle of the call where I told you, yeah, I've been following you on school and yeah, I want to lose, 15 pounds here in the new year. I feel like I'm almost there, but I don't know, I think nutrition or something, right? Maybe something I saw from your stuff. So then your goal now is understand me deeper in terms of, some of these big questions. Why do I want that? Why now? And things like that.
Okay. Um, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And now I know that you're a busy person, you run a business and you have a family, and so I'm curious, is so I'm curious, why do you feel like now is the right time to be working on last this last 15 pounds?
I think, well, the New Year's around the corner, that's a big thing. But also I just ran a marathon and I didn't get to my time by like I think it was what was it like 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever it was. And that was this month, and I was like, okay, that's it's I did the marathon, I did great, but it's kind of that nagging feeling of like if I was 15 pounds lighter, I'm sure I would have been faster, right? Just by the science behind it. So that's something that's been kind of in the back of my mind, and I think, I've been seeing your content, and ultimately I'm like, okay, what else could I do?
Hmm. So for you, it's that getting that better score, better time on your marathon is what's important to you.
Mhm.
And now, you could say, well, maybe I'm fine with that score. Maybe I'm okay with that time. Why is it important for you to improve that time on your running?
I think part of it is just just hitting my goal and knowing like, okay, cool, I hit it, and I did it, and um it's like just I don't know, just like feeling successful in a way, or feeling like, okay, I did it. I think that's part of it.
Um, do you feel like that's going to be, well, I'd love to just learn more about what the meaning of this running is for you.
Mm.
Where does that fall in your value system for yourself, the marathons?
Yeah, I think there's a part of like high performance, there's this idea of like good, better, best, right? And um I did like in the better range, but I'm like, okay, how can I be even better? Right? How do I
Mm,
keep progressing? How do I keep like reaching a new level? And I think that also ties into the last 15 pounds because when I was at my like best shape in college, I was about 165, 170, and so that's kind of where I'm like, okay, cool. I was performing really, really well in soccer and all these other things I was into at that weight range. And so I think a part of it is just this idea of progressing and like this notion of like good, better, best.
mm. So then if you were able to lose the 15 pounds and get that better score, get the better time,
Hmm.
then how would you feel?
I'd feel great. I'd feel like successful.
And then what would be different then if you were able to do that and you were able to feel great and successful? How would your life change at all?
Um, I think a part of it is like then thinking about, okay, cool, what's next thereafter? It's just like, okay, great, I did that. Let's celebrate it, and like looking at like what does the next level look like? So yeah, it would feel great, and then I would use that as kind of like a trampoline to get to the next level.
Hmm.
So that's my thing is growth. How do I keep growing?
Hmm. And now that could be pushed off till who knows when. It could be pushed off another year. It could be pushed off another 5 years. Why do you feel like getting that growth and that
Mm.
success now is important?
Yeah, because I think that um when it comes to training for something like a marathon or any big event, the sooner you start, the better, right? Because,
Mm,
like, for example, there's a marathon in LA coming up in March, right? So that's like 3 months out, you know? So if if I don't do it now, then what would happen is I would lose momentum, and momentum is very important, especially like in fitness and in running and your VO2 max score and all these things. Okay. So let's time out right there.
yeah.
Okay. So from your perspective, how did that feel?
Yeah, I mean, I was understanding that I need to get this person to really because especially for like what my typical conversations, it there has to be enough pain. Like I have
Mm,
learned that over the years of doing this, that if there is not enough pain or desire to reach that
mhm.
goal, they are not going to be paying my prices. So knowing that we just need to keep digging
Yeah.
to get them to understand that this is really important to them right now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I would add it's just we're really just uncovering these layers. It's kind of like an onion. It's like, oh, oh, oh. Right? We're peeling
Hmm.
back the layers because we could think about it as digging, but doesn't digging feel intrusive? Doesn't
Yeah.
digging feel like we're doing too much or like we're being pushy? I would say so. But this notion of uncovering, discovering, clarifying, understanding, that feels helpful, useful, So just the mere fact that they're talking to you is like, okay, wow, this feels like she's coaching me through this,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
So that's how I felt. I felt like you were really interested to figure it out with me, you
Right.
know? So from my perspective, it felt like you were coaching me. It felt like you were like, oh, okay. And, like you were trying to figure it out with me,
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
because a part of that too, like in that example, to your point, I didn't really know. Like I kind of had an idea, but not really. That's a
Hmm.
lot of people. That's a lot
Do
of people.
you do you really run?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so those some of those things are true, and I think the context is like this person has some idea, but let me reinforce that idea by just providing space and asking more questions,
Hmm.
unearthing, uncovering. Okay. Now, to your point, I think that's what you did really well. The
Hmm.
piece that I think could use some work is getting right into. And I was kind of helping you there because I was saying it's like, yeah, because if I don't do this now, then I'm losing
Right.
momentum. So I felt like you took a bit of time to get to that. And you didn't
Yeah.
actually because I kind of just said it.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Well, you just say that. It's like, okay, Luis, so let me get this straight. For you, if you were, right? So for you, if you were to start whatever you call your thing, a routine, a program, okay, gotcha. So if you were to start a program now, that would be important for you because then you'd be able to actually hit your goal in your next marathon. But I gotta ask, what happens if you don't do anything now? What happens if you don't do anything now? What happens? So Luis, what happens if like for one reason or another you end up not doing anything now? You know?
Hmm.
I would have then said, "Oh, well, then I would lose momentum." I would still, I would have arrived at the same conclusion, but faster and kind of
Yeah.
even more heavy hitting because the sequence, if you want to write this down, is vision. Get their vision. Like what do you want, Luis? Oh, I want to run a marathon under 5 hours. Okay, and I guess like, why do you want that? Oh, well, because it would feel like I'm making progress. And then we get into the why now. Okay, gotcha. But I guess like did something happen recently that might have caused you to say, you know what, let's do this now, or why now though? Yeah, I literally just ran a marathon this month and I missed it by like 2 minutes. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. And then you get right into the consequence question, which is really what we're talking about. That's if you want to label that, the pain or whatever. It's really just the consequence of inaction. Consequence of inaction. So what's the sequence? Vision,
Mhm.
why now, consequence. And that's where I'm gonna have you practice one more time. That's where you're gonna really not hit me, but like unearth. Like, why do you want to do this now? This reason. Okay, gotcha, Luis. I get it. So what you're saying is this, but what happens if like you don't do anything at all though? Oh, well then boom. My reason, that's the pain. That's the consequence that I want to avoid. And then you as a leader, Lucy, at that point, you use that as leverage to say, and are you willing to settle for that? Is that acceptable? Like,
Yeah, I had to find a different word because that is in my script, that exact phrase. Are you willing to settle for that? I hate it.
yeah. For you, the question is like, okay, so they'll tell you what would happen, like the consequence. Then the way to rephrase it is like, gotcha. And is that something that you would be satisfied with? Like almost a
Mhm.
confused, like, is that something you would be satisfied with? Or okay, gotcha. I guess like, how do you feel about that? Because the point of asking, are you willing to settle for that is to get a what? Is to get a no, because then they
Mm.
move away from that and towards what they do want. So then we ask them, okay, gotcha. And would you be satisfied with that? No. Okay, gotcha. And I guess, would you feel good about that? Of course not. Okay, so are you ready to get to work then? Well, yeah, I think I am. You literally like you're walking him through this sequence where you're literally giving him clarity of like, what's going on, right? Oh, this. Okay, I guess why is that important? This. And did something happen recently or kind of why now? This. Okay, gotcha. And I guess if that doesn't happen, like what would happen? Oh, this. Oh, and like, would you be happy with that result? Well, no. Okay, so are you ready to move forward then? Well, now that I think about it, yes. Literally, now that I think about it, you're giving them what, Lucy? You're giving them space to like think about it on the call with you out loud.
Mhm.
That's all we're doing. So let's run that. Vision, and I've done this forever, so I know it's vision, why now, consequence, settle, or your word would be, would you feel good or whatever. But let's run that sequence and let's just keep it tight. I'll give you short answers, but let's just keep it like tight.
Okay, from the vision part?
Yeah, I'd start at the vision part.
Okay. So what is it that you want to see for yourself in the future?
Yeah, I recently got into powerlifting and I want to be able to bench I'm making this shit up, but I want to be able to bench 300 pounds. I think that would be like crazy. Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. So why is that important to you? Why do you feel like benching 300 pounds is important?
Yeah, the interesting thing is, to no surprise, I'm not the tallest guy in the world, and so with the guys I'm hanging around, they're bigger and kind of like, stronger than me, and so there's this kind of like benchmark where, they've told me like, dude, if you were to do this or if you were to do that, like, man, you would be killing it, right? So I don't know, I kind of just want to be part of that crew and say like, yeah, I did it. Like I can do this. Like, look, even though I'm not the tallest, like at least I'm like strong in this area, you know?
Okay. I feel like I would have to dig into that a little more, but
I know.
or like should I move on because I feel like
Yeah,
that's
you
like
can just to keep the
okay.
sequence.
Okay. Okay. Right. So um okay, I see. That makes sense. And so you want to be able to be with run with the pack and be able to compare, be up there with them.
Mhm.
And I know that, this might have been something that's been on your mind in the past, but nothing, maybe you didn't really do anything about it then. So why are you working on this now?
Okay, yeah. So just quick feedback.
Yeah.
Perfect question. Really great question. So in terms of the pace, like you started good, but towards the end, just kind of find yourself being very curious to the extent where you're really like slowing down at the
Okay.
end. So it's like, okay, gotcha, Luis, and it sounds like this isn't new, but I guess like what's causing you to say, you know what, let's like do this now though.
Okay.
That's the part. So let's run that back because I think that's gonna do wonders for you. So let's run that back.
Okay. Um, so that makes sense to me. I really get that. And so I forget what I was gonna say.
That's
Um,
it. Just like whatever.
all right, so that makes sense to me. And so I know that this is something that's not new to you. So I'm curious then, why do you feel like this is something that you really want to work on now?
Hmm.
Is that better?
Well, that's great. That's really good. So back into role play. Well, honestly, like with the holidays and freaking October and Halloween, I've been kind of letting myself go and I've been eating the candy and the pumpkin pie and all this stuff. And so the guys are getting stronger and they're ending the year like breaking PRs and like, reaching new heights, and I'm kind of still stagnant. And so yeah, recently at the gym, like, we were all kind of doing our PR or whatever, like trying to really push ourselves, and I couldn't even really do what I did last month. And I was like, damn, like that just really hit me. So I was like, man, that kind of sucks.
Okay. So I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with this, but all right. So, um, okay, I get that you're wanting to keep up with them, and that's a challenge for you at this point. And so then I I'm curious what would happen if you weren't able to do anything about this. What's going to happen?
Well, I think more of the same. I think I just yeah, I don't think it would stay the same because the New Year's coming around and like there's no more like big holidays. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I think just more of the same. So let's rephrase that because
Okay.
then you're just causing me to kind of go into this like, well, I'm
Yeah.
nothing, what I mean? So it's more about like what happens if you don't do it? What happens if nothing changes? What happens if like you decide to keep like stalling or whatever he's doing, right? Like if you keep like putting things off. So be a little bit more a little bit more direct, not too much. He's like, okay, gotcha, Luis, but I guess what happens if nothing changes though? What happens if you don't end up, really working on this?
Mhm. Okay. So, Luis, what would happen? What would what happens then if you don't make any changes? If you don't change?
Oh man, well, honestly, yeah, one of my buddies was kind of making jokes about like, dude, like if you don't get your shit together, like, not that they're kicking me out of a club or anything, but it's kind of like that feeling of like, like I wouldn't fit in or I wouldn't like whatever. So yeah, and I really respect this guy because he's one of my mentors. So yeah, obviously that yeah, that would be I don't want that.
Yeah, I understand. And is that something you're willing to settle for then?
No, yeah, no. Now that I think about it, like yeah, yeah, because ultimately also it's like if I'm there at the gym and I'm doing these things, might as well just go all out. Like why even kind of half-ass it anymore? Might as well like really go for it?
Yeah, exactly. So, are you ready to move forward with this then?
I think so. I think yeah, there's a lot more clarity here. So yeah, time out. Yeah. So that example is probably way out of your like ideal client profile, but the whole point of that is we want to just focus on the sequence,
Yep.
not the content, but the context of the questions, you know?
Yep.
So how did that feel? Like just knowing that you have
Yeah.
a game plan, knowing that you have a pathway.
Yes. That's great to understand. And I feel like with practice, it would get
Yes,
easier.
that's right. And really, like kind with everybody, with reviewing your sales calls, you will be able to see, oh, I thought I was doing it, but I didn't really
Yeah.
like execute the way I could have, you know?
Yep.
And that's where the juice is. For a lot of us, like we understand this, but every time I say, cool, let's do a role play, people are like, oh shoot, like
Yeah.
how what was it? Because it's just human nature. It's
Yeah.
easy to understand, but it's a lot more difficult to execute and then execute consistently over time.
It's hard to recall things in the
Yeah.
moment if you haven't practiced it over and over.
100%. And
Yeah.
that's the whole point. It's like
Yeah.
when we practice it, oh, now we get the grooves. What usually happens is we say, I'll do it later or I'll pack this later. And it's like, well, when? We never
Yeah.
really get the chance or we don't make the time. So awesome. Now, great. I really love the way you slowed down there on the why now question. If I were to give some feedback, it would be this idea of truncating. So what happens is that sometimes because we want the other person to understand that we're listening to them, we kind of repeat what they just said, okay?
Hmm.
And then we get into the question. One of my mentors, what he shared was like, be more clinical, be more precise. What does that mean? Well, if you're in conversation with someone and they just told you something like that, you know, like, yeah, man, and I was making it up, but some people that's how they're driven. They want to be part of a pack, right? So if you do recap it, it kind of snaps them out of their state of emotion because you're now it's
Mm,
more logical, right? When you're recapping, all you're doing is it's logic. Like, oh, so what I'm hearing you say is this, and this. They're gonna be like, yes. Now you've snapped them out of their state of pain and
interesting.
check. So how
Yeah.
do you prevent that or whatever? How do you like just do it at the highest levels? They'll tell you something like, "Yeah, Lucy, I just really want to be like a part of this club because I've been working so hard and um whatever." And then you're like, "Oh, and so what happens if you're not part of the club?"
Mm,
It's just like hits harder, right? Because it's just like they just said something and boom, you meet them where they're at in that state, in that
yeah.
emotion. That's the difference.
Yeah.
That's really the meat of it.
That makes sense.
Okay.
And I feel like I've trained myself to do it the other way. Um,
Yeah,
Probably
I
more
know.
like for in session, like when they're my actual clients, we do a lot of reflection.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's where I think you just have to be very aware on when to do it.
Yeah.
It's just when the state matters. And when does the
Yes.
state matter? When we're really not when we're really uncovering the pain, when we're really unearthing their challenges. That's when it matters the most. And the vision, but the
Yes.
most is the challenge, you
Yes.
know? So you can still like do that, but just be more mindful and aware. Oh, okay, now I need to understand this guy's challenge or this lady's pain. So I'm gonna be aware of when they say something, I'm gonna go right into the next question. Okay.
Got it. Yep.
Perfect. So with that said, happy holidays. Definitely enjoy
Yeah.
the family. Have a good time. And then we'll see you here next week, Tuesday. And yeah, I think for you as well, one thing I would love to do sometime in the new year is like let's get on a one-to-one and listen to a call. Maybe even that call, right? Even if it closes or whatever, there's always a chance to be like, okay, we could have done this different or whatever. Because when we listen to a call, that's when we can really start to say, oh, here are some other ideas for you to really dive in deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. The one I just closed would be an interesting one.
Oh,
And then because I think I was doing an okay job. Um, And then, yeah, whatever happens with this next one. And I had two discovery calls today, and I had one, yeah, I think another discovery call
There we
before
go.
the new year, before the end of the year. So I am very happy, and I feel like things are finally like starting to
Mm.
move more. Like I'm feeling more confident about things moving forward. So, this is like my this month was the anniversary, 4-year
Mm.
anniversary of starting my business.
No
So
way.
I'm like trying really hard to make it work.
Yeah, 4 years is yeah, is a very meaningful time. No, I get that.
Yes. So this is, I keep saying this is the year, but no, this
Yes.
really is the year.
It's momentum, you know? That's what
Yeah.
we're saying. I think that's gonna be my word for 2026. You know, it's like momentum
Yeah.
because that's the name of the game. Just keep at it, focus, refine. But the biggest thing is also looking at the three biggest pieces: skill set, mindset, and then just organization. If those three things are in play, that's your stool, right? You can't sit on a stool with two legs. Like it's like you
You mean
can't
like
do that
for business in general?
for growth, right?
Uh-huh.
If you're working on your skill sets, if you're working on your mindset, and you're working on your time allocation, that's where growth is really at at its full swing.
Mm,
What happens though sometimes is we're working on our mindset and our organizations, but we are still not leveling up our skill set. Or sometimes we're working on our skill set, but then the mindset and some of these things are still lagging. And like for example, we say, "Hey, here's the strategy," and you're like, "Well, it feels pushy." And it's like, "Well, then you're not going to execute." That's mindset.
right.
So it's like when you're working on skill set, mindset, and time allocation, that's when the growth really happens. At least that's what we
Okay.
find.
Time allocation is very poor.
I hear you.